This is the new Audi Q3, and it's a little bit like a man bag in the way that it's trendy and usefully practical. Mind you, this isn't so practical that I can fit my iPad in it, so I'm still having to carry it. Anyway, this Audi Q3, it's a premium machine, so it isn't the cheapest thing. It starts from just over £30,000. However, you can save an average of just under 1,500 quid off one through carwow, even though it's brand new. Now, if you want to see how much money you can sell on a new car, click on the pop-out banner just there, top right corner of the screen. On that link below the video, and you'll get a carwow. Alternatively, just Google carwow deals, and you can check out the best deals and offers on the latest new cars on our website. This new Q3 has a lot more presence than the old one, which was just a kind of blob. From the lights to the cool graphics in them, the big, bold, aggressive grille, the deeper front bumpers of this S-Line version, and then there's this blue paint which really stands out. It really highlights the car's strong creases, and look at these rear haunches. It's very muscular. It is a smart looking car. I think I'm going to take this off. This is not trendy at all. It's a very poor example of a man bag, but this is a great example of a small SUV because yes, it may be small, but it's actually got a decent sized boot. In fact, it's one of the biggest boots for this size of car. Yes, there's a little bit of a lip to lift things over, but you get this nice, posh, shiny scuff plate so you don't scratch that beautiful blue paintwork when you drag your luggage out. And look at that. Boot is a nice square shape. There's different storage areas down there and down there. You have tether points as well to tie things to, which is great. Hooks to hang things off. And look at this lovely feature. Good old Audi. I like this. You can wedge the false floor up like that to mess around down here. Now you can get it with a space saver spare wheel. This one actually has what looks like a subwoofer for the upgraded stereo system here in the boot, but that is detachable if you need the space. This one doesn't have a spare wheel. Like I say, it's got the tyre sealant goop, which isn't great, but there's some extra storage areas around there if you need that. And look, you can of course lower the boot for just a bit more capacity. Now you're probably best leaving it up like that if you're wanting to lower the rear seats. Problem is, when you come to load those rear seats, you have to walk around to the back, which is a bit annoying because the lever's right down at the seat base. So I've got to go round. Do this, just bear with me. Just bear with me. Imagine dealing with a bunch of restless children or shopping and having to do this. It's a bit of a nightmare. That's one oversight by Audi. I wish it had levers in the boot to lower those seat backs. But look, once you've loaded them, nice, flat, spacious floor, dead easy to slide things right to the front of the car. Now, I'll just put the seats back, but it's quite handy I've got this suitcase here because it can illustrate that the doors are relatively wide, and that does help when you're doing stuff like messing around with a child seat and trying to get in. So to release seat backs, once again, you have to pull on the lever. It's actually locked down in place, which is quite good, but you see, it's a faff. I've got to come over here to do it for that seat, just and lock that down as well. Now, here in the back, shut the door. It's quite upright, but that's because, of course, look, yes, you know it. They do recline, and they recline quite a way. I'll just put this one down as well. There we go. So it's nice and even. And then I can show you just how much room there is back here. So plenty of headroom, look, more than the depth of my hand. Lots of knee room as well. And I can actually take advantage of that knee room if I want to by sliding the bench forward. So you could, you know, sacrifice some knee room if you wanted a bit more boot space, not that you actually need it. Footwells are big as well, so it's very, very comfy. You sit quite at 90 degrees, like you're sitting on a stool, which is good, so it makes it just a bit more comfy on longer journeys. And like, if you need to carry 3 people in the back at once, yes, there is this hump in the floor, but it's not too wide, it's quite narrow, so there's still enough foot room. And even in the middle, look, I've got a decent amount of headroom. Yes, you can carry 3 adults in the back of this car for shorter distances, and it's absolutely fine. Kids, 3, no problem at all. Kids will also like this look, so the window line isn't too high. You've got big glass area there, another one here, and if I put the window down, it goes all the way. Look, so you can lean your arm out like that. So that's nice and useful. So is the fact that you've got your coat hook there, so it doesn't get in the way. Sometimes they're there. Look, there's even got a second one here, actually. Other little useful features, so you've got some nets in the seat back, which they're a bit flimsy, actually, but they're large, so you can put, well, iPad Pro in there. This is just a normal size iPad. Here you have an armrest. Oh, look at that. That just feels expensive and solid. And I like the fact that the cup holders are covered, so when they're not in use, it's not annoying your arm if you want to rest on those cup holders. Look, I've even got some extra storage down here by the seat. So, and you can fit, look, you see a bottle in there, no problem at all. Show you this as well. Look, if I press this, you've got three-way folding seats, so you can actually have two people either side with still a decent amount of room and carry longer items such as skis or, I don't know, whatever you want to carry, some furniture from IKEA or what have you. Now, look at that. A 2-litre bottle fitting in the back door bins. I should just point this one last thing out. Look, the Isofix covers are removable and they're a bit awkward to do, and you'll probably lose those, but that's my only complaint really. Actually, it's quite easy to fit a child seat in the back of here. Now, for more detail on this car's practicality, click on the pop-out banner just up there in the top right corner of the screen, or follow the link below the video to watch my detailed practicality video. So I'll show you just how easy it is to fit a child seat back here, how much stuff you can cram into this car's boot, and what it's like with 3 adults in the back. Let's move into the front. I'm going to take my water bottle with me, because if you think the back door bins are big, then the ones in the front are even larger. Audi's done a good job in terms of practicality here. So here's a flask, fits in easy, but there's room for that 2-litre bowl and the flask, which is incredible. In terms of the other storage, well, there's bits I'm pleased with and bits I'm not so. Look, so you've got some extra storage down here, plenty of space in that secret cubby just down by the steering wheel. Glove box is a reasonable size, yeah, that's fine, and you've got a little dial there so you can actually put the air conditioning cold air into there if you want to cool some drinks. Now, let me just move this out of the way. Here, under the armrest though, it's not the greatest space, there's not much room. Then you have the cup holders here, and the weirdest thing is that it looks like it should have a cover over it for when you don't want the cup holders. It's just a bit messy and scrappy. You'd have thought that Audi would have thought about doing that just for the aesthetics. And my greatest problem with having cup holders there is that sometimes if you've got a manual car, they get in the way of the gear shift if you've got a tall drink in there or a very, very large latte. There's some of the storage bits and pieces here. Another storage tray down there, which I suppose you can put your mobile phone into if you want to. But once again, you could do with having a slider over it to cover it up. It's handy having your mobile phone there, because then you've got your USB, normal USB input there, or a brand new USB-C there, which is just far more modern. And speaking of modern, this interior is very, very up to date. It's a really nice design. I like the way that you've got these slabs. The infotainment system looks great as well, the way it's integrated into the dash. It's got this huge screen. This car's got the digital driver's display as well, and that comes as standard. It's really good, so you can control most of the car's features through it just using these steering wheel buttons. So you can show your sat nav map there, and you can change the view to make it nice and big or smaller, and control the radio. Very, very easy to use. Then there's the main infotainment system. So it's a touchscreen. It's very easy to just swipe through the different menus. The only problem is that it's a little bit lower down, so you end up taking your eyes off the road probably for a bit longer than you should, or if the screen was up there. But like I say, nice and easy to use. And if you don't want to use the normal Navi system, you can quite easily connect the car, then use Android Auto or Apple CarPlay and use mapping off your phone and some of your phone's other apps. The only problem with doing that is that you don't actually have the sat nav running in this display here, which is a shame, because that's just easy to use as you're driving. Now, for more detail on this car's infotainment system, click on the pop-out banner just up there, top right hand corner of the screen, or on the link below the video, and then you can watch my detailed infotainment system video review. And also, I'll just show you a bit more about the interior design of this car. So let's talk about the quality, because generally it's really, really good. So you've got super soft materials here on the dash. Everything feels very, very solid. This sporty steering wheel you get with the S-Line model feels lovely, expensive, but there's something a little bit odd. So look at this, the door tops. They're quite hard. It's just nowhere near as soft as on the dash, and usually you'd expect it to be. However, I do like this metal design, the way it works into the door handle and the way they've built the door handle. So normally you have to use a door handle like that, which is a little bit unnatural. This one, you can slide your fingers through underneath like that and then open the door, and that's so much easier. God, that beeping does get on your nerves, but it does stop you from leaving your keys in the car, so I'll give it that. However, back to the design, because there's some other things I don't like. For instance, look, this big panel here has just got nothing on it. I mean, why is that? Other than that, the ergonomics are brilliant. So all the buttons you need are here, and there's a couple over here, all very easy to get to and just in a sensible place. Another feature I like is that they don't have a physical sync button to sync up the dual zone climate control, which is standard, by the way. Instead, what you do is just press the auto button, hold it until it flashes like that, then it means it's synced, and then look, you can do the temperatures together, and then if you just turn that one, it will go on its own. So you've got dual zone again. I want to show you this as well. Look, I love the touch sensitive lights, and they're LED bulbs, not some horrible filament bulbs, so they're nice, bright, clear light. Another thing I like about this car, if you want to, you can sit quite low in it. So it feels just like a slightly grown-up hatchback, but there's so much height adjustment in the seat that you can then transform it to quite a high driving position like you'd expect from an SUV. And because there's plenty of headroom, you're able to do that even if you're quite tall. In fact, there's so much adjustment in this seat. The only problem I have with it is this is the optional electric seat, that depending on how you tilt the button, it kind of all moves in different ways. So you're spending ages trying to like get the exact angle and how you want it. That's my only complaint, because the seats are quite nice, as is the driving position itself. Loads of adjustment, as you can see, in the steering wheel, so you're not going to have any problems getting comfortable at all in this car. Now, as standard, the S-Line gets sporty seats, which are leather trimmed. The S-Line also gets some aluminium pedals as well, which are nice and sporty, as well as bigger alloy wheels. But other than that, spec is pretty much the same as the entry-level sports. You get stuff like reversing sensors, you get a dual zone climate control, and LED headlights and tail lights. Price-wise though, so this particular car I've got here, I put the details into the carwow configurator. It's a 1.5 petrol, automatic, S-Line. Now this car should cost from just over £34,000, but I've got an offer back for just under £33,000. Now if you want to see how much you can save on any car, why don't you try our configurator? Just click on the pop-out banner in the top right-hand corner of the screen, on the link below the video, or just Google carwow Audi Q3, and then you can just use that configurator and just build the car. You can build any car you want and see what the best offers you can get back, all from the comfort of your own home without having to haggle.
Now then, it's time for the CarWow 5 annoying things about this car.
There's far too many fake air vents on this car. For instance, here at the front, look, I'll illustrate it with the carwow stick of truth. These go nowhere. There's more here at the back, look. No, they go nowhere. Worst thing though is this, look, the fake exhausts. Audi is just getting so bad for these fake exhausts. This car looks really cool with the screen off, because you just have this black shiny panel. That is, so long as you haven't just been operating the touchscreen, because then this is covered in fingerprints. I mean, look at this. Yeah, exactly. Audi's badging policy is just a little bit odd these days. So in the past, the number on the back related to the size of the engine. So 2.0 was a 2 litre, 1.4 was a 1.4. Now the number relates to the engine's power, but 35 doesn't relate to the fact it's got 35 horsepower, because that'd be too little, nor 35 kilowatts. It's just means a lowish power output, whereas a higher number means a higher one. Yeah, really confusing Audi. The seating position in this car and the location of the ignition means that when you're driving along, yeah, your knee is constantly touching this fob, and it's really annoying, so you might want to take that off. There's various odd blanked out panels around the car's interior. I'm not sure what they're for, but it kind of makes me think that there's some options that aren't fitted. For instance, on the doors you have these little inserts, very strange, and then there's another one down here, which is where you probably hope to find some USB inputs for your mobile devices.
Don't worry, there's still plenty to like about this car. Here's the CarWow 5 cool features.
If you get the optional interior ambient lighting, then you can change the colour of different parts of the trim, such as, look, you can move through various different schemes as you like. But my favourite bit is that it also changes the colour of this Audi badge on here. I mean, that is just super cool. I do like that. Don't know why, it just tickles me. You can fit the low cover from the boot underneath the false floor. There's Isofix anchor points on the front passenger seat, which means you can carry 3 child seats in this car, which is handy if you've got triplets. If you get the Quattro version of this car, it can send up to 85% of the engine's power to the back wheels. Also, you can fit the car with an optional sport rear differential for even better corner exiting traction. If you want to free up space in the glove box, look at this. There's actually a special storage pouch for the manual just under the front passenger seat. Keeps things tidy. The first thing I should point out about this Audi Q3 is that I'm driving the S-Line version that has lowered, stiffened suspension, and it is quite firm over bumps. But a bit like an orthopedic mattress, it's not uncomfortable. It's all right. You can actually deselect it and have the normal suspension off the Sport model, which is a bit softer, and it might be worth doing actually. Alternatively, you can pay extra and get adaptive suspension, so at the press of a button you can put it into comfort mode, then it's really comfy, or press another button and it goes into sports mode, and then it's stiffer and firmer. The steering is really good the way it's not too sensitive when you just turn it a bit, but then the more you turn it, the more responsive and sensitive it becomes, which means you can go from full lock to full lock in just 2 turns of the wheel. So it's dead easy to maneuver round town, That means it's not too flighty when you don't want it to be, yet is responsive when you do want it to be, which is great. What's not so great though is the automatic gearbox. In fact, if I stop the car, so let's say we're at a junction or a roundabout and I suddenly need to get that gap, floored it, there's nothing happening, now it's going. It's really unresponsive, this gearbox. I don't like it at all, this automatic. It's not great. Fine when you're cruising along at speed, but round town it can get on your nerves. This particular car I'm driving has the 1.5 litre turbo petrol engine. It's got just enough power to get you about around town and you can keep with other traffic on the motorway. The problem I have with it though is that while it's normally quite quiet, when you put your foot down and rev it out, it does complain a lot. It starts going, no! Economy wise, I'm getting 37 miles per gallon. It could be a little bit better. I actually think this car is better suited to the 2 litre diesel, and you can get that in 2 states of tune, a high power version or a low power version, and the low power's fine. You can get that car with the automatic gearbox if you want. It works a bit better with the auto, with the diesel, because it's got more low down pulling power. Also, you can get it with 4-wheel drive as well if you need some extra grip, but actually the 2-wheel drive version, which this car is absolutely fine and grips well enough unless you plan to do some kind of mild off-roading. There's also some high power petrol models, but they get a little bit expensive, even though they are quite quick. When you're cruising on the motorway in this car, it's relaxing, it's very, very stable at speed, and it's not too noisy at all. You don't get much tyre noise from the road. You get a little bit of wind flutter around here, but it's not too bad, and generally this is a very quiet car to travel in, quieter than a BMW X1. Now you might be thinking, oh yeah, but Matt, the BMW X1 will clearly handle better when you approach some corners. Well, actually, no it won't. This Q3 is sharper to drive, it seems to just grip better, and it's more intuitive how it handles, really quite good actually for this kind of car. Just grips and goes round. It helps that this one's got the sporty suspension, so that's a payoff for that extra kind of firmness, stops the car leaning in the bends, and then there's that sharp steering. Now, it's really good that it feels very planted and pointy. I'm quite surprised how well this car actually goes around corners, to tell you the truth. It's definitely a lot better than the old Q3. Look at that. I can't believe I'm doing like 54 miles an hour around there. Couldn't do that in the BMW.